Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing something completely different. I didn't want to do a full-on review of whether the Color Studio Pressed Powder Palette by Beauty Glaze is a dupe of the Morphe James palette, because at the end of the day the colors are so different. And in order for me to call anything a dupe, the colors have to be at least similar. And in this case, it's nowhere near similar. So in this video we're going to see swatches side by side, and you guys are going to see that this palette by Beauty Glazed is not a dupe for the Morphe James Charles palette. So here are the palettes side by side. Now, off of first glance, these palettes look very similar. Besides the price point, the big difference between the two palettes is that the James Charles palette has 39 shades, where the Beauty Glaze palette has 35. So there are 4 shades in the James Charles palette that are not in the Beauty Glaze palette, but that is not the only difference. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys these side-by-side swatches, and you guys can tell me whether you think these colors are close or completely off. Okay guys, so we're going to start off with side-by-side swatches of the bottom 2 rows. That is this row down here versus that row down there. Now the first thing you notice is that these 2 shades, this one and this one, is not here at all in the Beauty Glaze palette. So you won't be seeing any side-by-side swatches of those. The pinks look identical in terms of comparisons, but the purple swatch, whew, not so much. As for the dark purple, James Charles looks like an actual dark purple. The blue shimmers look pretty close. The James Charles one does look just a little bit darker in color. The dark blue matte, definitely not the same. As for the forest green color, the Beauty Glaze one does not look like that one at all. Same goes for me as the neon green one. They don't look alike at all. As for the yellow, I was actually really surprised to see Beauty Glaze was a lot more vibrant and pigmented. I do have to admit that it does look better in a swatch. I don't know about the eyes, but in the swatch it does look better. The light green shimmers don't look the same at all. For the light blue matte, it looks like the James Charles palette is more pigmented. I really don't know what to call this last color, but it's the last of the blues, and again, they don't match. Here is like one of the biggest differences. We have one that's like a shade topper and one that is literally a shimmer. Completely 2 different worlds. So it's definitely not even close to comparison. The deeper hot pink shade, James has more of a wine color, and the Beauty Glaze one is more like pink. And as for the last one, I mean, it's kind of obvious. One is more pink and the other one's more white. Either way, they don't compare. Moving along to the center rows for each palette. Here are the swatches side by side. James Charles is on the left and the Beauty Glaze is on the right. The white matte in the James Charles palette actually looks a little less pigmented versus the Beauty Glaze one. The champagne shimmer shade looks almost the same. The shade that's kind of like an off-white or cream or beige shade, James Charles has a deeper color to it. The orange rusty shade in the James Charles palette looks more true to like orange versus the Beauty Glazed one. Now these 2 shades side by side next to each other, I mean, come on, do I really have to say how much they look different? They look so different. One looks more pink and red, the other ones are more true to brown. And as for the black, I was actually surprised at how well Beauty Glaze did. It's a really pretty black. Now in terms of this row versus this row, there were not much comparisons. Like, some of the colors in here don't even exist in this palette. Like, look at this pink right here. There is no pink in this row. So this is where it gets interesting. I took colors that I think were trying to be dupes for each other, but as you guys can see, none of these look similar. The red in his palette is clearly much more red. You got a hint of pink in this shimmer versus his, and I mean, all the other colors, you can see it. So there's no similarities at all with those shades. And the same situation kind of happened with the last final row up top. I had shades that were not even in existence in the James Charles palette. So I took shades that were closest to each other and I did side-by-side comparisons. I mean, once again, it's kind of obvious that they are so different. This one, maybe not so much. Those look kind of close, but the James Charles one has more of like an orange hint to it. But I mean, there are big differences here. Now guys, I will be honest, the Beauty Glaze palette it's pretty. It's a really pretty palette. The shades are beautiful. The swatches came out beautiful, and you can tell that there is pigment there. So I really don't have any complaints in terms of the quality of the palettes. I own other Beauty Glaze palettes and they do perform well. So if you're interested in this palette, by all means, you can still go ahead and get it. But it's not going to be the same as the James Charles palette. So that's all I have to say for today, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you like this style video, or if you're like, Chris, give us the whole shebang. I definitely don't mind doing full reviews, but in this rare case, this one was definitely not close to duping this in terms of color. Now, I know I could have done like a whole eye look with the shades that are similar, and then I could have said, hey, you know, this is a dupe. It came out looking just like this, but there are only a few shades that look like this one. And maybe if I layered it with other ones collectively, it might come close to this one. But honestly, for me, the shades have to be really close, and like it has to be the majority of the shades, not just a few that I can handpick. Majority have to be very similar for me to call this a dupe. This isn't a dupe. This is an imitation of this. Okay, guys, so as always, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.